Good morning, welcome to my channel. This is Can an Album Be Written from my shed? Although things are changing, but this is episode 30 and I am working on what was called podcast project, but is now being referred to just simply as project. 1, 2, 3. So I will get into that track in a sec. Couple of things to start with. Coming off the back of the weekend, I've been away for a couple of weeks. I haven't made videos for a little while. Just before I went away was the weekend James came up. There is an episode 29 that should precede this chronologically. It's longer. It basically consists of the entire Friday sort of night's listening session, where we go through the 6 tracks we're trying to prep for the weekend. So on the Friday night we sat down, went through all 6 of those. They consist of, let's see if I can remember, Vacate, Breath, Left of Me, Smile, Weasels, and The Credence. So they're the 4 tracks we ended up working on. We didn't do anything else. We did a bit of live rehearsal, but didn't end up doing a gig in the end. But did get all 6 of those. So the listening session was done on the Friday. We agreed what we wanted to try and do over the course of the Saturday and Sunday with them. Saturday was an extremely long day. We got started pretty early and worked right through till late in the evening. Doing overdubs, vocals, drums, just about everything, but fully tracked now. Came away from that weekend then with those 6 at a point where, in my mind, they just needed sort of mixing of levels, right? So just bringing everything up in the mix, getting everything to a really nice kind of loudness and fullness. The 2 weeks that I've been away, I've spent quite a lot of time in a caravan and had quite a bit of time with the couple of storms that we've seen blow through here in the UK to sit down and actually go through that mastering process. And I actually got to a point, and this is probably the most exciting news so far of this whole project, got to a point with Breath where I decided to fuck it and just go ahead and release it. So Breath went into Spotify, iTunes and everything. I used DistroKid to upload that last week. And so yeah, I'm now published as an artist. So I'll put a link in the description of the video to that track on Spotify. You should be able to find it pretty much anywhere. DistroKid is fairly comprehensive. I have to say the process was really simple. I've heard pros and cons about DistroKid. I'm sure I would with any of these kind of platforms. My experience is very limited, so I can't comment on anything other than the fact that it was just very, very simple to put up. And it took about 36 hours for it, once submitted via DistroKid, to at least come live on Spotify. I haven't checked the other platforms yet, but so that's exciting. I'm pretty confident that we could, after maybe another week or so, potentially do the same with all of these tracks if we wanted to. So this might end up being a misnamed channel or a series of videos anyway, at least, if we never end up producing an album. Or maybe that will be the point of can an album, or that will be the answer to the question, can an album be written? We'll see how that goes. But anyway, all in all, really great. Episode 29 will go up. I'm in the process of editing the video. It was a necessarily long video, somewhere around 2 hours, 2.5 hours, with, a modicum of garbage thrown in amongst all of that. So I think I'm down to about an hour and 20 minutes at this point in time. I'm hoping to get it to just over an hour. And that will go up, but it'll probably go up after this video. So slightly mixed up in terms of chronology. Not that it really matters, but also interestingly used SoundCloud to master those tracks. James and I experimented a little on the Saturday night. We put Smile and Breath through mastering. Didn't sign up for a pro account, just paid the $4.99 to master the tracks as one-offs. And again, very simple. Actually, I didn't. When I ended up, I also used SoundCloud to master the version of Breath that I put up, that I've actually ended up releasing. The first version, and the listen back once the mastering was complete, I was really unhappy with it. I wasn't sure why. It was just very sibilant. I didn't like it. So anyway, I went back. I used a different set of mastering parameters. There's 4 they give you basically in SoundCloud. I also remixed Breath. I brought all of the levels up as well. And actually, when I got to the point of mastering it the second time, the mastered version was of a lower volume than the raw version that I put in, or the mix that I put in. There was a gain match feature which I used to bring that volume back up again. So that's actually what went live. Immediately, as soon as I put it into DistroKid, I was like, fuck, drums are too punchy. I forgot to balance the drums for the bridge section, which is something that James was playing on the MIDI pad. So, it has that velocity sensation, or whatever you call that, on the keyboard. So his bass drum is louder than the bass drum throughout the rest of the track. But, it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, it's up, warts and all. It is what it is now. I don't think I'm going to try and go back and, pull it or do anything with it. Not that I might not release a different version later on, but Breath is one of those tracks that I've been working on for so long now. To get it out there, it's just an amazing feeling. So really happy about that, and I hope if anyone does follow this and listen to it, that you like it or don't like it. And if you wanted to comment on that, that's fine. But if you get some listens, that would be amazing. So that's up. In regards to today, where I am at the moment, it does feel like that process with James did allow us to kind of clean the slate a little and get to a point where I feel like I can move on to a couple more projects. So I've got 4 in total to tackle next. These are all projects of mine, actually. So it'd be interesting to see. James is very close to having his space up and running. So it'd be interesting to see if I can run some of these through him also. But the 4 tracks at the moment are this one that we're possibly going to have a quick listen to now, Podcast Project, which I'm, as I said, now sort of referring to as just Project. Thigh's iPhone, Reef, and Templeton's Blues. And so today I was going to look at Podcast Project. Now this is the older version of it. I may have played this. I think I might have played it in an earlier video, but I'll do a quick listen through from the intro to just give you some context what we're dealing with. Again, I'm in one of those positions with this that there are elements of this that I'm definitely going to have to relearn. So this intro being case in point. So, probably sounds really chaotic. I'm considering this version of this to be kind of the palette from which I'll draw the elements that are going to turn this into a song from. Right, so there's a lot of speculation in here, a lot of guitar parts. Basically, James did all this percussion stuff here. He and I put together this drum beat. I think I worked on the intro and he did the rest. We've got the ooh-oohs in there, which is both of us. James, I think, originally wrote that bass part, and then I re-performed it and re-recorded it. But essentially it does the same thing for the most part all the way through, which is not great. Although I think the way that I've added to it as mean that it's listenable, but it's certainly not a song. The other element in here that I want to kind of draw out, and I've kind of been playing with acoustically, which will bring me on to the next sort of version, is this section in the center. Now the whole thing is in D, pretty much, including that bit. But I started playing around with an acoustic version of it. So the idea behind this is that I will strip this back. I'll keep referring to this, but I will strip this back to a raw acoustic version. And draw out the elements from in here that I think make a verse or a bridge or, you know, whatever it happens to be. The bass line will stay. So bass line will stay. I think the drums will probably stay. As to what happens with all of those electric guitar parts, who knows at this point. But if I revert back to acoustic, start from scratch there, try and write some melody, try and write some lyrics, try and write some verses, pre-choruses, choruses, whatever it happens to be, and then try and apply it back into this sort of template and see where that takes me. I'm planning on doing a similar thing with Templeton's Blues. Again, what James ends up bringing into each of those, I don't know yet. With Thigh's iPhone and Reef, I'm sort of starting from a different place, but with those two, they're kind of the same. So it'll be interesting to run the two different types sort of in tandem. But looking forward to moving on. Like I say, really happy that Breath has gone into, is kind of out there in the world, and it's kind of validation of the work that's been going into this for, you know, the last however long it happens to have been. But anyway, look forward to talking to you again soon, and thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and do all of that interesting stuff if you wish.